Transmissions jammed. Proximity coverage only.
Hey guys, Jacob here. A lot of you have been asking me what's the main PvP build I've been using in the Darkzone or in Conflict. I have a few builds I've made. I'm going to be showing you guys those a little bit later on down the road, but this build is going to be my true stability PvP build I've been having a lot of fun with in the Darkzone, and I'm going to get right into it. You guys will see I am using the Specialization Sharpshooter. You can always use something else you're liking if you want to use something like Gunner or Firewall, if you want to use the medkits in those. So if you want to use Firewall for the fire on the medkit or use Gunner for the better heals, you can do so, but I'm using this for a little bit more stability, which might be a little bit more overkill, which I'll most likely change back to Firewall because it's a bit insane. But the primary I'm using on this build is going to be the P416, which is the Glory Days variant. I have 93.7k total damage, 863 RPM with 50 rounds of the magazine, 9% assault rifle damage, 10.5 health damage with 9% crit chance rolled on here, and perfect nearsighted, which is receive 100% stability at the cost of negative 35% optimal range. And you will see the accuracy and the stability bar on here, which the stability is max all the way. The attachments I'm using on here are the C79 scope with 5% crit chance, 5% crit chance on laser pointer, and 5% crit chance on the muzzle brake 5.56. I have plus 20 rounds in the sturdy extended 5.56 magazine with negative 10% reload speed. And if you guys are curious what skin I'm using, this is the Firestarter skin from the Seasons. Now for secondary, you can use essentially whatever you want. I just have an Eagle Bear here just as placement, so if you guys want to run like a sniper or run something like Lady Death or an SMG or some kind, or even an LMG, you can do so. For sidearm, I am using the backup boomstick due to the fact I'm a huge fan of sawed-off shotguns due to Mad Max, but you guys can essentially use whatever you want to your liking. I highly recommend using a pistol you feel comfortable with, but I also like using the shotgun because it does a shit ton of damage. Now for the pieces, I'm going to cover the gear set pieces first. I'm using Striker, which is the 3-piece. I'm not using the 4-piece because it's currently broken at the moment and it does not work as it intended to, so that's why I'm not using it. The mask, I have 14.8 weapon damage, 12% crit damage with 5% crit chance. Also, if you guys are not aware, the 2-piece and the 3-piece give you rate of fire and weapon handling, which is really nice. For the gloves, I have 13% weapon damage, 10.7 crit hit damage. For the holster, I have 6.7 weapon damage and 6% crit chance. The weapon damage is very low on this, but it could be worse. I could not have a holster at all, so I'm just happy I at least have one. Now for the brand sets, which are the yellows, I'm using a Fenrir's chest piece, which gives me 10% assault rifle damage, 15% weapon damage, 12% crit damage, 17,000 health, which has 11% crit chance mod, and obliterate. Crits increase total weapon damage by 1% for 5 seconds, stacks up to 15 times. So overall, obliterate is going to be a key item or a key talent you're going to want to have in this build. For a backpack, I am using the Seska Devil's Due backpack, which gives me 10% crit chance. I have 11.5 crit damage rolled, 13.5 weapon damage with hazard and bleed, which gives you really nice little bit combo for people using stats effect style builds. Perfect clutch, if you are below 20% armor, crits repair 2.5 missing armor. Kills allow you to repair up to 100% armor for 4 to 10 seconds based on your red core attributes. So if you guys are not a fan of clutch, then I'd highly recommend using something else to your liking. But overall, I love testing stuff in this game and using different combos, so that's why I'm using this for once, to test it out a little bit to see if I like it or if I don't like it. Now for the knee pads, I am using Sombra, which gives me 15% crit hit damage, 11.9 weapon damage, 5.2 crit chance, and 11.8 crit hit damage. Now for the skills, you can use pretty much whatever you want because this is a PvP, but if you're solo, then you can use the Reviver Hive. That's why I threw this on here if you guys are solo players in the Darkzone, but 90% of the time I'm using a shield because I do not have any tiers in blues or yellows, so I tend to have this just to protect my body a little bit when we're farming heroic and the challenging landmarks. And also if players decide to jump you, you can actually pull this out and block a few of their bullets and get a few hits on them before they get a few hits on you. Now, for the pulse, I am using the MP Jammer, which this is one of the main things you're going to use on this build if you're going to be going to DZ, due to the fact stats effects are literally everywhere right now, and people are using, it won't protect you against trauma, but if you see like a hive and people are bleeding you with it, then I'd highly recommend using this. Then just gets rid of that. That way they cannot make you bleed with their hives. That's me about it for the build and the skills. I will get into the character sheet as well, as you guys can see here. These are the talents. This is the PvP weapon damage is 51,000. Crit chance is 52.4 and 119.6 for hit damage. You see health damage, armor damage, that. Stability is 120, which is a bit overkill. So I most likely will change the specialization to something like Firewall or something else. You see the weapon handling is 15%. Ammo capacity is 4.8. You guys can see the talents real quick. And we'll show you the defensive stuff real quick as well. Max health, armor, which is really low, so be really careful with this build. Hazard is 15.6. Bleed is 23.9. And here's a few other things for the skill, for the Hive, if you guys are solo. And also for the EMP, which has a 28.7 cooldown. And the skill is 4.4, which is from the Keener Watch. I will show you guys a little bit of footage with this quick, so you guys can see the stability, which this thing is an absolute laser. So you guys can put accuracy on here if you want to have a little bit more accuracy and hit your shots a little bit more, but overall this thing just straight up beams, and it's fun as hell to use. But you actually do not have to use this gun if you want to use something like an AK with nearsighted on as well. You can use that because you will have stability from Sharpshooter, and you'll have stability from Striker as well. But that's about it, guys. Thank you all for watching. Make sure you subscribe for daily Vision 2 content, and I will catch you guys all later.